Welcome to the Heart of a Viking. This channel offers elementary art lessons taught by Mrs. Minto from the Cape Henlopen School District in Delaware. I look forward to virtually creating with you. There are new lessons posted weekly. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss a single one. So go grab your art supplies and your thinking caps and let's begin. All right, my kindergarten artists, so we're going to do a little bit of art magic today. To begin our art magic, we're going to take our paper and fold it in half one time. Once it's been folded in half, I want you to trace your hand, but I don't want you to trace it the traditional way. I would like for you to trace it so it looks like a mitten. So you go up around your tall fingers and then around your thumb, and that's it. Don't trace between each of the fingers. Now, after you're done, I want you to keep your paper folded shut. Don't open it up, keep it closed. Now, I want you to cut through both layers of paper. And when you do, hopefully you'll get a little surprise in the end because we're looking for you to have two of the mittens, not just one. So let me continue cutting mine and let's see if I get two mittens instead of just one. All right, open those up, Mrs. Minto. Yay! Okay, great. I got two mittens. All right, and what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to put them on the table so that the thumbs are touching, just like mine. And I want you to keep them that way the whole time. Now, we are going to decorate our mittens with some designs with shapes and lines. Now, here's the trickiest part. Whatever designs you put on the one mitten, you need to make matching designs on the other mitten. So, on my left mitten, I had a line and 5 circles, so guess what? On my right mitten, I get a line and 5 circles. Down the thumb, I'm drawing 2 straight lines. And guess what? 2 straight lines on the other thumb. And then I'm just going to keep going back and forth until I get a mitten that is visually exciting for me. Okay, so keep adding your designs. Make sure that they match. Okay, and once that's all done, I'd like for you to use some crayons to trace your lines and color in your shapes. So I'm grabbing a couple of crayons for myself and I'm going to be tracing my lines and coloring my shapes. The one thing I don't want you to do is I don't want you to color the whole mitten because I've planned for us to be making a watercolor painting on top of our crayon marks. So I want you to just color the shapes and trace the lines and leave the rest for watercolor painting. All right, so clean up all those crayons and pencils and let's switch to watercolor paints. If you have paints like this at home, these work great for this next part. If you don't, you can always color with your crayons or colored pencils or whatever you have available to you. All right, so if you have paints with me, you're going to go ahead and get them out, get a cup of water and a paintbrush. And what I'd like for you to do is take the bristles of the paintbrush and then tickle, tickle, tickle on the color that you'd like to use. That means don't dig in these paints. If you're lucky to have these paints, you want to treat them gently. Tickle, tickle, tickle really gently with a nice wet paintbrush. And then finally, I'd like for you to paint on your picture. Don't scoop in the paints, don't dig in the paints. Gently tickle, 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 and then paint on your paper. You want the colors to be nice and thin. You don't want them to be dark, and thank goodness I put down a piece of newspaper. I think I forgot to tell you to do that. So if you haven't done that yet, get a piece of scrap paper or newspaper and put it under your picture so that you don't have to worry about painting on your table at home. All right, and when you're ready to switch colors, rinsey, 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 scrape, 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 and then tickle, tickle, tickle on whatever color you want to use next. All right, and the last thing is really cool. You can paint right over your crayon marks. because crayon will not get covered up by these types of paints. Watercolor paints and crayons don't mix. So you can paint right over those crayon marks. You'll still be able to see them nice and bright, but you don't have to worry about painting around them. So that's really cool. Okay, and once that part is done, once the painting is all finished, then the last thing you have to do is wait for them to dry. And that's it. So whenever we return next week, we're going to be adding something to these mittens. So after you're all done, please keep your mittens, don't put them away, because next week we are adding something to them. So let them dry and then put them in a safe spot so that you can get them back out with me next week. All right, boys and girls, I'll see you back here next week at the Heart of a Viking.